In today's video, we head over to Japan, a case so sinister, it changed the law on how old you had to be to receive a life sentence. A few years before the crimes took place, the residents of Kobe dealt with a horrible natural disaster, an earthquake that killed more than 6,000 people and made 45,000 homeless. In the midst of rebuilding their homes, on May 10, 1997, a group of young girls were attacked by someone with a hammer. Luckily, they all managed to escape the unprovoked assault. Only 6 days later, 10-year-old Ayaka Yamashita was attacked by someone brandishing a hammer and a knife. Dreadfully, she was unable to escape from the attack and was bludgeoned to death. Just an hour after the attack on Ayaka, a 9-year-old girl was attacked in the same neighbourhood. She received several stab wounds and was immediately rushed to the hospital, where she miraculously survived the attack. Around the same time, a number of animals were found dead, many of which had been mutilated beyond recognition. A week later, a young boy had gone missing. His name was Jun Hayes. He was only 11 years old and had been missing for a few days, when on the morning of May 27th, as the students of Tanahota Elementary School were arriving, they started to scream and cry as they seen in front of the school gates was a decapitated head of a special education student, Jun Hayes. His eyes had been gouged out and his mouth had been slit from ear to ear. On a hill close by not far from the school, police discovered the young boy's mutilated body. Inside his mouth, the killer had left a cruel note written in red pen, which read, "This is the beginning of the game. Try to stop me if you can, you stupid police. I desperately want to see people die. It's a thrill for me to commit murder. A bloody judgment is needed for my years of great bitterness." The local newspaper Kobe Shinbun received from the killer a 3-page 1,400-word letter, also in red pen. He identified himself as Sito Sakakibara and claimed that he murdered to take revenge on Japan's education system, which is well known as being very rigid but also known for bullying. "It's a big mistake to think that I'm a childish killer who can only kill children," he continued. The letter repeated the earlier warnings of future killings and taunted the police. The writing in the letter matched the writing in the other letter that had been found in the mouth of Jun, and also included information that hadn't been made public. This indicated that the letter was genuine and not just a twisted prank. In the letter, the killer referred to children as nothing but dirty vegetables, and threatened to kill 3 a week if his name be misreported again. At first the media referred to the killer as Onibora. According to the letter, Sito was not a complex code or nickname, but instead my real name. The killer described himself as an invisible man with no nationality. He insisted police to take him seriously because he was risking his life by committing crimes for which he could be hanged. I'm not going so far to say police should risk their lives, but pursue me with more anger and determination. The crimes were so gruesome and evil that police mobilised over 500 investigators to work on the case, while concerned parents organised neighbourhood watches and children were escorted to and from school. The violent crime sent shockwaves through Japan, which was a nation that hadn't experienced many crimes as graphic as these ones. Not to mention, Kobe was still dealing with the heartache of the earthquake disaster. On the 28th of June, Japan was horrified to learn that it wasn't some deranged serial killer who had been in and out of prison, but a 14-year-old boy that was a student himself. Following his arrest, he confessed to the shocking murders. Due to being a minor, he was prosecuted, convicted, and known in all court documents as Boy A. When police were searching his home, they found a diary, and in it he described the murder of Ayaka. "I brought the hammer down. When the girl turned to face me, I think I hit her a few times, but I was too excited to remember." He also confessed to police that he had washed Jun's severed head in the family's bath to release his soul. He added, "This morning my mum told me, poor girl, the girl attacked seems to have died. There is no sign of me being caught. I thank you, Bamandishkin, for this. Please continue to protect me." According to those who knew the killer, he made friends easily enough, but was known to be quite strange. He told friends that his hobbies included collecting cats' eyeballs and tongues. According to the killer himself, he was inspired to write the letter to police after reading about the Zodiac killer. In his home, police discovered books on Hitler and books about other serial killers. In the year 2000, Japan's legal system lowered the age for criminal responsibility from 16 down to 14 as a result of the Kobe child murders. Since he was too young to go to prison, he underwent psychiatric treatment, and in 2004, the vicious murderer was released on provisional basis, with a full release announced being on the 1st of January 2005. After his release, he wrote a letter of apology to the parents of his 2 murder victims. It was the very first time that he had actually expressed an apology for what he had done. The details of the letters were not publicly disclosed, but according to Rieka's mother, she accepted the letter and said, "I'll think it over." The true motivation for what drove the teenage boy to kill was never fully explained due to the privacy of him being a minor. In 2015, the Kobe child killer published a memoir which spoke on his murders and left doubt about the extent of his true regret. "Let me confess something. I thought the sight was a beauty," he wrote, referring to displaying Jun's head in full public view in front of the school gates. He also confessed that before displaying the head, he took it to the bathroom in his home and committed a deed far more heinous than the murder. "Whilst a teenager, I was a hopeless sexual deviant who took satisfaction in mutilating animals before eventually moving on to killing human beings. When I advanced to junior high school, I had already become bored of killing cats, and gradually found myself fantasizing about how it would feel to murder human beings like me," he said. In the concluding chapter, he spoke about the guilt he allegedly feels about the string of murders and offered an apology to the parents of his victims. "I couldn't keep quiet about my past anymore. I had to write, otherwise I thought I would go insane." The release of the book reasonably led to public outrage. Many critics felt as though the book was very insensitive. Mamoru Hayes, Jun's father, called for it to be removed. He said to local media, "The book completely tramped on our feelings. It is clear that he is not sorry for what he did." The publisher, Ota Publishing Co., was also heavily criticised. They said the reason for going ahead with the publication was because they deemed the killer's account important to place in public record amid heightened concerns over the severity of juvenile criminals. The book was a huge success and sold out its entire 100,000 initial copies in just 3 weeks, earning the Kobe child killer an estimated $93,000. Following the success of the publication of his memoir, the Kobe child killer created a website to document his life, blog style. It offered details such as his height and weight, and detailed that he was suffering from expansive delusions. In the gallery section, there was photographs of a nude man wearing a mask. Shortly after the website was announced, a Japanese tabloid disobeyed the laws that were designed to protect the rights of minors by printing the real name and a photograph of the Kobe child killer. The Shaken Post identified him as Shinichiro Azuma. They additionally announced that he was living in Saitama Prefecture, north of Tokyo, and announced that he was working as a welder on construction sites.